What is the G20? The G20, or Group of 20, is an intergovernmental forum comprising 19 sovereign countries, the European Union, EU, and the African Union, O. It works to address major issues related to the global economy, such as international financial stability, climate change mitigation and sustainable development. When was the G20 founded? The G20 was founded in 1999 after the Asian financial crisis as a forum for the finance ministers and central bank governors to discuss global economic and financial issues. What is the purpose of the G20? The purpose of the G20 is to promote international economic cooperation and sustainable development by promoting financial stability and growth, reducing poverty and inequality, protecting the environment, strengthening global governance. Which countries are members of the G20? The G20 members are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, the African Union. Which country is hosting the G20 summit in 2023? India is hosting the G20 summit in 2023. Where will the G20 summit be held in 2023? The G20 summit will be held in New Delhi, India, in 2023. What is the theme of the G20 summit in 2023? The theme of the G20 summit in 2023 is One Earth, One Family, One Future. What are some of the key issues that will be discussed at the G20 summit in 2023? Some of the key issues that will be discussed at the G20 summit in 2023 include global economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change and environmental challenges, sustainable development, digital transformation, international trade and investment, global financial cooperation, social inclusion and gender equality. Which countries are permanent members of the G20? There are no permanent members of the G20. Which countries are rotating members of the G20? The G20 has 19 rotating members, which are divided into two groups. One group rotates every year, while the other group rotates every 2 years. The rotating members for 2023-2024 are 2023, Indonesia, India, Brazil. 2024, South Africa, Argentina, Saudi Arabia. Which countries hold observer status at the G20? The following countries hold observer status at the G20. Spain, Singapore, Switzerland, the Netherlands, the United Arab Emirates. Who is the current president of the G20? India is the current president of the G20. Who will be the president of the G20 in 2024? Brazil will be the president of the G20 in 2024. When was the first G20 summit held? The first G20 summit was held in Berlin, Germany, in 1999. Where was the first G20 summit held? The first G20 summit was held in Berlin, Germany. Which country has hosted the G20 summit the most times? South Korea has hosted the G20 summit the most times, with 3 summits. What are some of the key outcomes of previous G20 summits? Some of the key outcomes of previous G20 summits include The creation of the Financial Stability Board, FSB, in 2009 to promote global financial stability. The adoption of the G20 Action Plan on Climate Change in 2010. The launch of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in 2015. How is the G20 structured? The G20 is structured as follows. Leaders Summit. The G20 Leaders Summit is the highest level meeting of the G20, and is held annually. The summit is attended by the heads of state or government of the G20 member countries. Ministerial meetings. The G20 holds a number of ministerial meetings throughout the year, which are attended by the relevant ministers from the G20 member countries. Some of the key ministerial meetings include the Finance Ministers' Meeting.